aren't quite over yet. New Year's celebrations are over. Yesterday was the 12th day of Christmas, and it's great when we can extend Christmas to be 12 days. Most of us don't do that. You have the option of doing so. But there's one more holiday to go, and that's today, January 6th, the day of Epiphany. Here's an interesting little tidbit. Up until the 4th century, Christmas was actually celebrated on January 6th. In 325, after Christ, Emperor Constantine moved Christmas to December 25th because that was the day that he celebrated Sol Invictus, the unconquerable sun. That was around the time when the amount of daylight would begin to increase and the sun was returning. Constantine thought that was the time to celebrate Christmas, and so it was changed, leaving January 6th to be the day of Epiphany, 13 days after Christmas. The English word epiphany comes from a Greek word which means revealing or manifestation. Epiphany celebrates God's revelation or manifestation in the birth of Jesus Christ. And so we look to the wise men, the Magi, Gentiles, who saw the light and came to Christ. Something is revealed in us to them. Something is revealed to us by those wise men, and especially their gifts. Their gifts contain the important substance of God's revelation. We can think of the wise men's visit to Jesus' birth as the first baby shower ever. And we can also think of the wise men's visit as the first and the last group of men invited to a baby shower. These guys did not bring any gifts from the baby registry. They didn't bring anything practical for a baby. Instead, they brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. What's important to recognize in these gifts is that they direct our vision forward. They show us who Jesus is, but more importantly, how Jesus will grow into his identity. The wise men's gifts are prophetic in that they show us Jesus' future. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh reveal to us what God is doing in the world through Jesus and what Jesus means to you and me. Gold, the most precious of metals. This is the gift fit for royalty. And this gift had all kinds of political implications back then. When the wise men show up in Jerusalem, they make it plain that they are searching for a new king. Where is the child who has been born king of the Jews? They ask King Herod, who is the Roman governor. Herod's the villain in the story, and he is unhinged by this question. A new king is a clear and present threat to Herod's rule, Herod's authority. A new king of the Jews means public unrest, protest, and possible revolt. So after consulting with religious insiders, Herod directs the wise men to Bethlehem and instructs them, go and tell me when you find him so that I can go to him and pay him homage, which he's not going to do. He's going to take care of his problem. The wise men, however, find the infant Jesus, and when they do, they worship him and present him gifts of gold. Gift for a king. Jesus is a born king. into his kingship. But he is not a king like Herod. He will not amass political power. He will not require subservience of the population. He will not be a military leader who will rule by threat or force. Jesus will be an entirely different kind of king, because his kingdom will be the kingdom of God. As king, Jesus will reveal God's kingdom on this earth. And make no mistake about it, it is a new social reality. The kingdom of God is a group of people who see themselves as different from all other groups of people. And this is what I mean by political implications. God's kingdom is a kingdom of new relationships and new communities of people of faith. It doesn't have any borders. It doesn't need elected officials. It doesn't need a military to hold things in place. Instead, God's kingdom is a kingdom of love and service and hope and peace. Jesus is the King. It started with his birth, and it's still happening now. Among people like you and me, wherever there is love, and wherever there is service, and wherever there is hope, and wherever there is peace, we can say there, at that place, in those people, is the kingdom of God. Gold is an excellent gift for Jesus. Frankincense. Frankincense is a rare incense. Jews burned frankincense in worship in the temple in Jerusalem to create a perfumed smoke that is an offering to God. How many of you have ever been in a worship service where there was incense? Right. It's hard for Presbyterians. We're not accustomed to smells in worship. And actually, we're not accustomed to worship that deals with all five of our senses. But 5 senses of worship is a more complete, more bodily expression of worship. And so incense was a way of lifting one's spirit as an offering to God. The wise men's gift of frankincense affirms that Jesus is worthy of their worship. Everything out there, the whole world, competes for our attention, our commitment, and our loyalty. Just think about your daily life and the decisions you have to make, and how you're going to use your time, and how you're going to use your resources. And most of your day, I'm willing to bet, you don't feel like it's a choice. But things that you have to do, things that are required of you. Work can be totally overwhelming. Maintaining a certain lifestyle and the status that goes with it can be completely consuming. A particular political perspective can claim your absolute allegiance and fidelity. And the market economy and late modern consumer capitalism requires us to constantly adopt its values and accept its precepts. And we go through our day doing this for this, and this for this, and this for this, and this for this. And we get to the end of the day. Where did it go? The world competes for our attention, our commitment, and our loyalty. Frankincense is an excellent gift for Jesus because it reminds us that we are to have a first commitment, a higher loyalty, a focus for our attention, and a focus for our lives, and that is to be Jesus Christ. Myrrh is an expensive oil most commonly used to anoint the dead. The gift of myrrh foreshadows Jesus' death. Jesus is born, and Jesus will die. The myrrh is an expression of mortality. Sometimes it's a more poignant question than other times. When we think about death, what do we think about? When someone we know and love is at that point, where it's a more poignant question than at other times, what do we think? And how do we respond? Jesus' death reminds us of the salvation that comes through it. Because Jesus died the death he died, and because he was who he was, his death brings to us the salvation of God. We are saved from our sins. We are saved from evil. We are saved from ourselves. And we are saved from death itself. Jesus' death conquers death. And we are saved. Myrrh is an excellent gift for a king and a savior. So, here's an artist's rendition of the first baby shower ever. 3 wise men who did not bring the most practical gifts. 3 wise men who probably will not be invited to a baby shower again. But they brought the most revealing gifts. Gold for a king, frankincense to affirm that this is the one worthy of our worship, myrrh, because this is the one who saves us. Now, a contemporary artist has taken this theme and painted a modern expression of wise people at a baby shower for Jesus. It's more encompassing. It's more inclusive. But look at the expression on their faces. They are just beginning to grasp the significance of the Christ child. They are just beginning to get it. This is a king. This is the one we worship. This is the one who pulls it all together for us. This is the one who saves us. Epiphany is all about this moment. Coming to the Christ child and recognizing